to introduce our presenter today. Donna Crawford is the Senior Director for Program Strategy for the Alliance for a Healthier Generation. This program is focused on transforming school and community environments to improve whole child health and wellness. She holds communication degrees from Xavier University and the University of Florida. Donna serves on a number of committees and projects for the Memphis Alumnae chapter. I present Donna Crawford.
Thank you. And as I said earlier, if you're in the right session, it's about saying no, say yes. So,
yes.
Does everyone have a handout? Okay. So, one of the shortest words in the dictionary is no. N of two simple letters. But it is one of the hardest things to say. Why is it so hard to say no? You all tell me. This is an interactive session. So why is it hard to say no?
Because you don't want to disappoint.
There you go. Get a little something. Anybody else? Why is it hard to say no? Yes.
Sometimes we have second thoughts.
Yes, of course you do. Of course you do. Something else. People are afraid to say no is because they don't want to admit that what they're being asked to do is something that they can't do, and they look bad. So we're going to talk about when to say no and how to say no. And I want to hear from all of you. But when you learn how to say no, it is a freeing feeling. You feel good. But it depends on how you say no. So we're going to go through all of those. So for our adults, growing up as children, we were always told to be polite. Yes, ma'am, And so now we're adults, and so it's difficult, that's been ingrained in us. When someone asks us something, we immediately say yes. We'll do our best, and we'll attempt to do our best. We do want to please people. But when you say that all the time, you're saying no to something, and that's you. So you are forgetting about yourself when that happens. So there's also empathy, and so the way that we present ourselves when we say no, we have to also be cognizant of the other person that we're responding to. So how we saying no to them, how do they receive it? So these are the 5 signs you need to indicate when it might be time to say no. And could you read the very number 1 for me? Did everybody hear her?
If you feel uncomfortable.
When you feel uncomfortable, when someone asks you to do something, and you're like, if it makes you feel uncomfortable, then that might be a sign that it's time to say no. Do some mindful breathing. So let's take a deep breath. Do I really want to say no? And it also depends on who you're saying no to.
Yes.
So if it's your child, you can say, no, we can't do that, right? But if it's your boss, or if it's your spouse, or your significant other, if it's your parent, that's the difference. So definitely take a breath. You feel guilty or obligated. So if someone can read the definition under number 2 for me out loud so other people can hear.
In a work situation, it can be particularly difficult to say no. Your job may require you to oblige when superiors delegate tasks to you. But that doesn't mean your time and energy are less valuable than theirs.
So true. So true. Depending on the role that you play where you work, people say, well, I'm just going to ask her. She's a superwoman. She does everything, whatever. Or she doesn't have a senior about her title. Or she's not the specialist or whatever. So I'm going to dump everything on her and not think about it. But everybody is valuable where you work. Everyone brings a skill. And one of the things I've always said is, as a manager, I will never ask someone to do something that I'm not willing to do myself. So So the same thing applies here. If I'm willing to say no to it, someone else could say no. So you always keep that in mind. Read to me number 3. Can someone volunteer to read number 3 for me?
I'll read. If you are overloaded with work, say no to more tasks or projects. Wait until you've freed up some time and energy before you take on anything new. Keep in mind that saying no to yourself is just as important as saying no to others. Putting pressure on yourself only adds to your stress and anxiety. Make sure to prioritize your mental health and physical health to avoid burnout.
Thank you. What was that in bold? What was that in bold?
Self-care.
Self-care. Keep in mind that saying no to yourself is just as important to say no to others. When your body tells you you're tired, you're overworked, you're stressed, when you can't sleep, when you can't close your eyes because they're always open because you're doing something, your mind can't settle or is at peace, then it's time to say no to something. You have to remove something from the scenario so that you can rest. So saying no to yourself. So I can't do anything else because of this. Not necessarily the person who asked you or the task at hand, but it is because you just simply physically or mentally cannot do this. And number 5. Who can do number 5? Oh, number 4.
When someone asks you to do something that crosses your boundaries, it is important to stop the process in its tracks and say no. Your boundaries are worth standing up for.
Give me an example of a boundary you will not cross.
What is something illegal,
Something illegal?
unethical?
Yes. There was a recent study. They had a group of people. They went to class like this, and they were studying about decision making. And they were told to deface a book in the library. And on paper, people said, "Well, I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't do that." Half of the people in the room did it because they were asked to do so. So if this is a boundary, know your boundaries. Definitely if it's something illegal, if it causes hurt to someone else, if it causes harm to you. Those are the things. If it crosses a line with you, then that's when you should say no. So think about those situations where you are, this is really, it's beyond the pale. This is something that as a mother, as a spouse, as a community member, as someone who works in your organization, I've been asked to do something. This is where I draw the line. I give you a real life example that just happened this week in my job. Our vice president in my department was in a group, and there were other VPs, so she called them the VP group. And she said it was a toxic environment. But at the sake for her sanity, she sent a letter to say she would no longer join the VP group. So that was a boundary that she set for herself. It's freeing. She talked to her therapist, she talked to her husband, which is good. And she talked to us, her management team, to let us know, because I thought that was so brave to say. And she even talked to our CEO to let her know, I'm not joining this group, and these are the reasons why. And so knowing those boundaries, once again, it does free you. If this is something that I want to do, I guess the key is respect. She respected herself enough to know this is something that she would not do, and others respected her enough to say, we're not going to cross your line because you told us not to cross your line. So it's a tricky thing. She was at risk of getting well, you're not going to join this group, then here's your little pink slip. But they respected her to do that. So thank you all for that. And it's important to think about no. It's 2 words, it's simple, but it has so much implication. It's one of those heavy words. And so here we're going to talk about why it's important to say no. So do less deliver more. When you focus on one thing at a time and you do it well, then you are excelling versus trying to say yes to everything. The lady on the picture, she's juggling all of this. But maybe if she said no to one thing, maybe her little circle around her would be better because she has removed something. What about saying no can benefit your performance or a career? Does anyone have an idea of an example of doing that in your personal careers, in your life?
I was gonna go back, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, going back to me, number 5, especially as you talk about in Korea, right? That was always, and well, and still is sometimes, right, is the one that I kind of find challenging. I'm only doing this because maybe someone in leadership or something else asked, and you may or may not be in the position to say no, of course, depending on what it is, or that task is delegated to you with, in different things. And so, I just found that one as to say, that's very interesting perspective, but like you said, depending on the relationship or what the assignment and task is. So if you're only saying yes to please someone else.
Yeah, but that way, but you'll be saying yes all the time. If you want to please somebody else, then you have left yourself out of the scenario. Because how does that pay off for you at the end? So if you're always saying yes to somebody, people will always give you something. Oh, okay, should, whatever. But you get lost in the things that you want to do. Does anyone have of how being assertive paid off for you? You were about to say.
It took me some years to get there, but just like you just said about executive leadership or people asking you, and I was like, oh yeah, okay. So now I say, let me check and see what my bandwidth looks like and my availability to do that, and when do you need this by? Because maybe if you tell me when you need it, I may be able to accommodate it, but I may have to shift some other things, or I may have to give you something back, or let you have, someone else to do this other project that you get me working on, because I can't handle all of this at the same time. Whereas I used to be like, oh, yeah, let me do it. Okay, and I'm up at 9, 10, 11 o'clock at night. Oh, cause
Which
not
means,
be able to do that no more.
if you're up at 9, 10, 11 o'clock at night doing work, what happens to your family?
I ask now, right? If one particular person is giving me so many things, which of these would you like now? You gave me A, B, and C too. Which of these would you like me to prioritize first? Because then, like you said, yeah, all of it is still there, but all of it can't be due today, or what you would like me to prioritize. So that's the way.
What's the most important? What should I?
Y'all can do the
Something
class.
is
Y'all can
So, in my practice, I used to work on Saturday, and I would only do one Saturday a month, right? And so, last year, I was like, you know what? We've worked Saturdays for 20 years. And so, we're not gonna work Saturday anymore. Like, because one, we're giving you 5 days. So, we're here Monday through Friday. So, as a parent, if you can't come to us Monday through Friday, at some point in time, and you have to come on Saturday, then you have to find somebody else. Because my staff is staying away from their family to be here on a Saturday when we're here Monday through Friday. And I have to take off work to take my kids to the doctor. So, and so that was a hard one for me to get to, but it was so freeing. Yeah.
That's great. That's really good, because you have given yourself that. You have time for something else. And
my staff have time.
And that's what I was saying. Your staff benefited from that as well. So it wasn't just you, it was someone else. And on page 2 of your flyer, you'll see this. It's important for mental well-being. You just said it was freeing. You said, Valerie, what do you want first? What is the priority? And so that helps you know, okay, well this is what I have to do. Now you can put your pen to paper and do my to-do list. So this is what I have to do. When you talk about mental well-being, that calming feeling that you get. It might be maybe you get off work. I used to take off my bad bra and put on, take off my good work bra and put on another bra. That type of thing. That is that feeling when you can put your feet up, like, okay, I can watch the neighborhood. You know, I'm good. You know, so that is that mental well-being. You have exercised for the day. You have gotten that zen, you're in that good mood. But if you are saying yes to everything, then you're not in a mental space, which really turns right into burnout. So using your two examples, when everybody is giving you all of this stuff to do, what happens? When no one has answered your question about, well, what is the priority? What should I do first? What happens to you?
For me, it puts the onus back on me to make the decision, and then I just do what's best for me. But if I get, when I put it back on you, one, right, as when she mentioned friend, I don't have to think, right? You get to tell me, hey, what to prioritize, but when I put it back, when it's left up to me, then I decide and I do what's best for me to, meet the deadlines or do whatever, but like you said, keep from being burnt out. Let me prioritize this in the way that I think best, deliver what I can here, and go from there.
And not everyone is as strong as Tiffany, because people shut down. You just don't do anything with it. So that's the burnout. When you just, I don't want to go to work, I don't want to get up, you want me to do what? Okay. It sits there for 3 weeks because I want to do what I want to do, but this is also a priority, but I don't want to do it because I am burnt out. And when you reach that stage of inertia, where you're just not doing anything, you're just not doing anything. And that is a sign for help. That is a sign that you need to talk to somebody, whether it is at your job, at your home, with your family, or a professional. But when you reach that point, your body is going to burn you out. And you won't be able to do what you think you want to do.
But Ms. Donna, what are some of the signs that we should look for even within ourselves, right, before we get to that point? Because usually by the time we got to that point that I'm not doing nothing. You know what I'm saying? Because you get so overwhelmed with life, and it doesn't just affect in the workplace. It literally affects right to where maybe you can't even get out of bed now because it's just kids go figure it out. Whoever, whatever, and then again, not that they're not priorities, but when you got into that place in that moment that you're beyond burnt out, right? You're no good for anybody, but what are some of the signs?
I open it up to the floor. What are some of the signs you have experienced with burnout? We have several health professionals in this room. What are the signs of burnout?
Lack of interest, diminished activities, you're tired, and you think that you're tired because you've had a lot on you and you're overwhelmed, but you are undiagnosed depressed.
Depression kicks in. You don't wanna, when you say get up, you go to work, but it's just, I gotta go to work. I gotta go to work. I'm just doing this. But when you get to your desk or to your station where you put in the widgets in the box or whatever, that's when you make mistakes because your mind is not there. You are totally burnt out. Anything else about burnout?
I have lack of focus. Like whatever I'm supposed to be focusing on, it's everything else that I'll clean up, I can go and do whatever. And then eventually, but yeah.
And it's physical manifestations to burnout too. Because sometimes you don't know it, but someone's gonna tell you something is wrong. Something is not quite right. And you might not realize it because you're going through the motions. I'm still doing my work, I'm still, high quality work or whatever. No one has told me that this is bad, so I'm just gonna continue to do it. But something will change.
Sometimes you find yourself getting snappy. Usually you have a nice, pleasant personality, and all of a sudden you snapping everybody up, and you're not as compassionate as you used to be. So sometimes you're supposed to change these ways.
And to me, when that happens, you're taking it out on the people who love you the most. And so, because you wouldn't say that to your boss, you wouldn't snap at your boss unless you get to that point, because I've had to set some boundaries in my job, and I'm like, they say, Donna, quiet down, I'm like, you're here, you're reaching right here, because I have to say something that means, okay, we both need to take a seat back. But it's easier to snap at your family because these are people who don't really judge you or the implications implications are not the same, but they are deeper. So keep that in mind. So great questions, great conversation. When it is, always saying yes can prevent you from and we just talked about the relationships, strong and healthy relationships. So that's when she talked about being snappy. To build a strong relationship, you need to have that boundary. So this is not just job. This is family. This is your other outside things that you like to do. So make sure that you clear boundaries and mutual respect are birth indicators of a healthy relationship. So personal goals. So if you are juggling all of these things, but you want to go, you say, I've made a goal to myself, I'm getting my PhD in 10 years. But if you're doing all of this and it keeps piling and piling, when are you going to find time for you to achieve your goal? So freeing yourself in the correct way is a way to make you achieve the goals that you have in mind. Does anyone have an example of that when they were able to do something because they let something go? Be realistic about your capabilities. So sometimes when you say yes to everything, you might not be good at everything. So remember one of the things I said was, people are afraid to say no because they might get exposed. I'm really not, yeah, I'll do it, but this is not something you do well. But you don't want people to know because you're the reliable one. But be realistic about your capabilities. When I said that the statement about I'm not, I would never ask someone to do something that I'm not willing to do myself, our CEO said, yeah, but I want to make sure that I hire the experts to do those things that I cannot do. And I took a step back, okay, oh, you're right. I could do everything. I'm asking, oh, no, you can do that, you can do that, you can do that. Because I've done it before. But I am not an IT person. I am not the person who's going to lead exercise maybe in here today. So I know my capabilities, but I want to help. You always want to help somebody. And then self-care. We talked a little bit about self-care. Taking time for yourself. How many minutes of mindfulness do you all do a day?
My day varies.
So you gotta find some time for you. I saw you with your child, so I know it's hard and you work and everything, but it is such a good thing to do. And you feel so much better that you have taken some time out for yourself. It doesn't have to be long. Come to the counselors and the physicians, and it doesn't have to be long. Just a few minutes.
Ooh, and that can feel like a stretch.
Yeah.
For getting started, right?
Yeah.
So even if you take it and just build up to it, so since you don't have anything in place, get you 5 minutes, right? Whether the kids are reading a book or something, and as you mentioned, right, just start somewhere and build up to it.
Is there a quiet time in the morning where they're, taking their baths or whatever, maybe when they're eating their breakfast or putting on their clothes, maybe you can find that 5 minutes.
Yeah, but my son is like attached to me, so he knows when I move, and now he wants to get and start talking to me.
Okay.
Yeah, so that throws everything off. So for me, I feel like I'm at that place where I am overwhelmed.
Mm-hmm.
Because I got my daughter is 6, he's 5, and now I'm pregnant with my 3rd, and I give birth next month.
Wow.
And I'm working.
Oh my goodness.
And I still have all this stuff to do to prepare for the baby, and I'm doing it by myself. So I used to find time for myself early in the morning, but now with all this stuff on me, I just can't, and I don't want to do anything. Don't nobody ask me to do nothing, because I'm at that point where I'm saying no. And don't ask me more than once, because then I'm gonna be snappy.
Yeah.
Because I said what I said.
They're gonna get the real person.
Yeah. So I'm normally that happy, cheerful person, that helpful person. But because I spent so many years trying to people started changing last year, cause I can't do it no more. Because I have neglected myself. And every time that I'm feeling some type of way, my children get that side of me. And I don't wanna be that type of mom,
Yeah.
especially bringing this new one, you know what I mean? I wanna do something different. So I'm trying to revamp my whole mindset, who I am, who I want to show up as,
Yeah.
what type of person I wanna be. And it's hard because I have been conditioned to be and do what everybody else want me to do. And so I'm still trying to find the Vita. What the Vita like, what the Vita don't like, what the Vita's not gonna tolerate from nobody. And I got attitude because I wasn't allowed to have attitude coming up. So yeah, I mean listen, but you know, I mean well, but I need you to understand I'm tired. I can't do it anymore. And I had to let several family members know early this year that I'm done. I don't care about your opinions of me. I don't care. That was my whole message from January to now. I don't care. And I'm sticking to it, and it's starting, it's working right now. But I have all these hats I gotta wear. And I'm tired. And I just don't wanna do it sometimes.
We understand you're in a room full of folks. Truly. But it's okay.
I'm tired.
It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. And this, people in here, what I'm missing is, from what you're saying is, who have you talked to ask for help? Besides God.
I'm one of them ones, I just do everything myself. Because when I ask for help, I get let down. Or I see what I can do. I don't like those answers. Just tell me straight up yes or no, cause that's all I'm gonna do. You either gonna do it or you're not gonna do it. And a lot of times they don't do it, which means I have to do it.
But, okay, I was a caregiver, my sister and I here, and we were caregivers for our mom for years. And people said, well, what kind of help do you need? What can we do for you? And we was like, no, we got it. And just like you, because we thought we could do it better. Sometimes when you give people the opportunity, you have to give them the opportunity. You have to trust, even if they don't do it well. Am I right? Am I right? Now, I know when it comes to with the children and this and that or whatever, you don't want to just let anybody say, yes, I can help. I can help. But sometimes you have to give them that trust, and people will surprise you. Some, try it. Try for one thing.
I don't know.
Try. Let's see.
Miss Donna.
Can I just make, like, I guess, one recommendation as far as the baby? Not so much, like, you don't have to pray and ask God to have somebody that you can trust. And then have a circle, like, if you have a circle of friends, I'm going to say two things. So if you have a circle of friends who have children, then you all create a pact where it's like, okay, look, Monday from such and such time to this time, I'm dropping my kids off at your house. You got all the kids, I'm gonna go do blah, blah, blah. On Wednesday, you drop your kids off at the house, I got you, you go do blah, blah, blah. Because you have to have an outlet, right? At some point in time, you got to release it, right? But in the morning, before the baby gets up with you, when you move, set your clock or figure out some kind of way, put it on vibrate your phone or something, so you can wake up a little bit earlier, but don't move. And that's your quiet time. He sleep. Because you know when you move, he gonna move and he gonna talk. So you stay still. And in that stillness, you ask God to get you to every place that you want to go and all the things that you want to do. And figure out your plan every day. I tell my staff, I walk in, I said, we're gonna have a beautiful day today. It's gonna be great. I'm knocking out all negative energy at that moment when I say those things. So you lay there and be like, to yourself and the Lord, because if he hear you, he might wake up.
Right.
But you wake up a little bit early just so you can have that quiet time for yourself. Yeah, I mean, I get it. I had one, he rode, I rode, he rode.
That's
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
And I would encourage us to, as hard as it may feel in this moment, we also have to, just like we're learning and relearning, we have to teach our children what our boundaries are. As you mentioned, as a caregiver, so I serve as a caregiver, as a doula, but as a mom, right? And even with a special needs baby at the time, it felt like, right? it just didn't feel right in that moment. But the same way that he had needs and I had to recognize those, we had to figure out how to communicate, no, I have needs here. And you don't have to be in this bathroom with me, because there was one point, it was just easy. That people could say what they want, your boy in the bathroom, listen baby, that's what it takes for us to get, to get through this moment.
Right.
So I understood that, but eventually, right, I had to get to the place that no, you're gonna be okay. You can scream at the door if you need to, but I need to go in here, and it's just practice. It's not easy every day, but it gets better. But again, we have to be consistent, and we have to be willing sometimes to let them have those tough moments, even when it's tough on us.
Thank you all. Thank you. Thank you. And thank you for being brave. It's brave to say this. As we talk about the self-care, in your handout, it gives you some examples of how to say no. Does anyone want to say any of these that you really like, that I'm going to practice? And then if there's something not on the list that you have used to say no.
Number 5, this I'm looking at this number 5. I said, I know this one particular person that says this all the time. I don't have a bandwidth for that right now.
But that's knowing, what it is. The one I like is, I'm honored you asked me, but I simply can't. Because you're letting them down easy. You're showing them the respect. Oh, that is so nice. I'm glad you thought of me for that, but unfortunately, I don't have them. Or I'm doing something else. Thanks for thinking of me, however, I'm not able to do so. As you were talking, you two were talking about what is the priority. They give the example of, I'm sorry, but I'm not able to fit this in. Maybe next time, or that sounds lovely. We can't be everything to everybody at the same time. We can't be at every place at the same time, So there's that fear of missing out. What if I don't go? This is the day they have solved all the problems in the world, and I missed it because I took care of myself. They're more than likely half of the problems will still be there when you go back to work the next day. Now this is important. Now is there any other ways that you all have said no to people and they respected it?
Yeah, but they probably shouldn't be repeated.
Right.
Okay. So you don't necessarily owe an explanation. And I've had people who say, well, you just told folks that, I'm tired. That's good. I'm tired. We all understand what tired is when you have reached your point where you can't go any further. We do give an explanation sometimes because we want to respect the other person. We're nice people, so I just don't want to cut you off. And it is an honor, depending on what it was that you asked me to help you with this, but but you don't really have to give an explanation. But it makes you feel good when you have said that. But you can't be, okay, the reason I can't do this is because, I have to go here, and then I have this, and so-and-so, and then this, and then I was watching this on TV, and then I had to go to the grocery store, and, so I had to bail somebody out of jail. So all of this, when you give me that over-explanation, you're going to get caught. And I go, really? Well, I check the blotters every day in the commercial appeal about who went to jail, and I didn't see your nephew's name on that list. So were you really doing that? So keep it simple. Just keep it simple. And be true to yourself. So practice saying no. Communicate your decision clearly. Express gratitude for being asked. Take the time. Remember we said take a deep breath. So take that breath before you decide yes or no that I can do it. Be assertive but respectful. So the things we can't say, as you mentioned, like I can tell you no, but when you bless somebody out, but just be respectful. Don't beat around the bush. Don't hem and haw, because that means, okay, I don't believe you. Seek advice from others, people you trust. or if you need to seek professional help, seek professional help. One of the things, my VP who said that she told her CEO that she was not gonna be a part of that meeting anymore, she went to her therapist. So seek professional help if you need it. So I always think about, do I have the time and energy? Will yes add value to my life? What makes saying no so important? Okay. And am I doing this to please someone else? And does this mean if I say no to this, I'm saying something, yes to something more important? And what do I need to change to make this opportunity for a yes? So learn how to say no helps you say yes to your well-being. Knowing how to say no is a skill, and you can benefit from that for the rest of your life. Prioritizing your needs is one of the most loving things you can do for yourself. So say yes to say no, but it's how you say it and when you say it is most important. So thank you for your time.
Before you all leave, I want to give a great big hand for Ms. Donna. And we got a schedule for an exercise, but don't worry about that because time is out, and want you all to go to the main room for giveaways, not now, because we want to, after we present Ms. Donna.
On behalf of Memphis Alumnae Chapter, we want to give this to you as a token of our appreciation.
Thank you. Any questions before you transition? I am very fortunate in this session